hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
2002.
What was that? Other than a long time ago.
It's a year?
Yep.
The year is 2002.
Oh, man. I'm in grade 8.
The Leafs have gone up 2-0 on their series against Alexei Yashin and the New York Islanders.
Oh.
The last time the Leafs went up 2-0 on anybody in the playoffs. The last time the Maple Leafs won consecutive home games in a playoff series. The 2004 East semifinals against Jeremy Roenick and Keith Primo and the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, Keith Primo, Leaf killer.
Now,
Leafs were down 0-2 in that series and tied it up.
Now, how old were you guys in 2002?
I turned 14.
Jesse?
10.
You were 10. What was the top movie at the box office?
2002? Oh, man. Zero clue.
Jesse, any thoughts? Any guesses?
Shrek?
Shrek, good guess.
Oh, that is a good guess.
Actually, The Scorpion King.
Oh,
Featuring The Rock.
Very, very good.
Okay.
Wow.
Top.
I go very good. Jesse's like, it wasn't very good.
Top song in 2002.
I'm going to go with Yeah by Usher.
Okay, good call.
Am I a year? I might
I
be
think
a
you're a couple years early. You're a couple years early. Jesse?
Something by NSYNC.
Almost. Ashanti's Foolish is the number one song in 2002.
Ashanti. She had a moment.
Anyway, just thought you should know that Travis Green, current Sens head coach, was on that team that took the 2-0 lead. So that's interesting.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy? So last night, obviously, we go into the game, and it's Jesse, I wanted to talk to you about this because I think it's sort of cool to get a vibe check on the guys before the game. You talk to the Leafs, you talk to the Senators. What was in the morning? What was the vibe in each dressing room from what you could tell?
The Leafs are like, I've been preaching this all season long. Their attitudes this year is completely different than years of past, and they were. I think the guys that we talked to, they were excited about the game, obviously, because playoff action. But there was no sense of nerves. Like, it's not like there's a whole bunch of pressure on Toronto and they lost game 1, and now it's like, oh, the choke Leafs are back at it. There's none of that. There's none of that nonsense. And I think just winning game 1 the way they did led to that morning vibe during the optional skate where it's just like, okay, they took care of business. Let's see if they can do it again.
I've been a lot more
very
relaxed,
simple.
but my chest did tighten in the third.
Right. Yeah. Well, we didn't get to the third. This is pre-game.
Oh,
pre-game.
We're
Now,
not
how
there
did the
yet.
Senators feel, do you think?
The Sens were, I wasn't there for Travis Green when he had his avail, but talked to Stützle, or Pinto, and Brady Tkachuk and Claude Giroux. The Claude Giroux quotes were fun because Masters asked him about the Brady sucks chants.
Yeah.
He went to the defense of his guy, obviously, and said that, you wouldn't be chanting that if he actually sucked,
Yes.
You only chant those about good players, so it's actually a compliment to him. But, you can tell that the vets tried to talk down the inexperience of the players. They said, obviously, they haven't played in playoff games, but it's not something that's going to hold us back in that way. And it wasn't entirely like upbeat, obviously, because they lost game 1 and it wasn't a pretty game for them. But, they went in with the right mentality. I think there's nothing wrong with their attitude.
No, I thought the way the Sens were kind of just brushing off game 1, that's what are you supposed to do? Act like the world's ending?
Yeah.
Because you lost one game on the road
Exactly.
as the underdog. Like, you're the wild card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like to have any sort of giant reaction to a game 1 in any playoff series is an overreaction. And the guys who are playing the series know that more than anybody else. So, yeah there's nothing huge to take away in terms of like the Sens having a meltdown in optional or pregame skate.
Yeah. Now, I thought the Brady sucks stuff was interesting because it's pretty rare that Toronto's crowd makes it into the news for anything other than being extremely quiet, and
or has any kind of swagger whatsoever.
Right. And in this series, it feels like they have.
We haven't been welcome to the stadium of trash talk for many a year. What do the Leafs have to talk trash about? You know what I mean? Like in recent memory, like heading into series against the Bruins, it's torture.
Right.
All I had, and I clung to it like grim death, was the Bruins might choke again. This is the battle of the chokers. You're going to choke harder this time. Generally speaking, I mean, things keep not going the Leafs' way. So to see not just the team, but the fan base get a little bit of swagger back, it's nice. It's a nice change. I know people outside this fan base think all Leaf fans are just arrogant idiots who plan the parade every year. No, we're actually quite self-loathing.
Right. Well, this is the thing. So for the first time, we hear, hey, we're talking about a crowd thing that it isn't, Joe Bowen saying that they're too quiet.
Right.
And when the players were asked about it, Stützle, Giroux, they were all like, well, yeah, because he's a good player. That's why they said it. And what was hilarious about those answers is I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But what it came across as, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, was I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered at all by this.
As I turn into a corn cob.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, they're not like Mott and Paulo sucks. Mott and Paulo. No, it's their captain, man. I like that heading into the series. It's like, what can the Leafs possibly do?
Right.
To shut down Brady Tkachuk, and Leafs go up 1-0, and it's just like, that guy sucks. Boo. That's awesome.
Before the game, Anthony Petrelli put this thing out, and I want to know how you guys feel about this after game 2.
So good.
So he said a couple of thoughts ahead of game 2. Lots of talk about what happened at 5-on-5, and score effects aside, a big story in Game 1 was the Leafs surviving their own lineup decisions. Domi was horrible on L2 and actively made them worse in that spot. When they flipped him with Holmberg, the whole team got better. If Ottawa wants to play 5-on-5, that's fine. The Sens were 31st in 5-on-5 goals this season and negative 18 at 5-on-5 overall.
Who are you reading?
Anthony Petrelli from Maple Leaf Hot Stove.
Oh, okay.
He's good. He's good.
Very good. Leafs gave up the third fewest goals at 5-on-5 and were plus 33 overall. Ottawa did score 2 5-on-5 goals, and the Leafs will want to tighten up the neutral zone. The game opened it up a little too much. The power play was great when they played it. So I just thought those were kind of interesting things to kind of bring into this, because the whole thing was, well, the refs were too tight on Ottawa. A lot of penalties that should have been called. I think the one penalty you could probably say in Game 1 was Stützle. Last night, I look at it and I go, it felt pretty fairly called, even though a lot of calls went against the Leafs. I'd still say pretty fairly called. And when they were playing 5-on-5, difficult to disagree with that summation, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was Game 2 for the Sens was Craig Berube in the 2019 Stanley Cup Final. His team keeps breaking the law, so they keep calling penalties, and then after the game he goes, "Hey!" And then they stopped.
Yeah. So
and Brady Tkachuk high-sticked John Tavares in the face after the first period in front of the entire officiating crew for last night's game, and nothing happened.
Morgan Rielly opened the scoring, his second goal of the playoffs, because it's playoff Morgan Rielly.
Yeah.
John Tavares got another goal. I remember Jesse, you messaged us and said John Tavares could have 6 tonight. He was just flying in that.
He had a
period.
fantastic first period, and I think he had a fantastic all game. Like, I think he was the best player on the ice for a lot of that game.
He struggled in one area, which was the face-off dot, which shocked me.
Right.
There was one point, I don't know what he ended at, but at one point he was 4-14, which is just not a stat line you ever see.
Calle Yarncroke, Anthony Stollers, and Ridley Gregg, and then Nicholas Robertson all getting penalties in the second period. The Leafs getting those penalties, especially the Nick Robertson one, which Luke Fox pointed out was 200 feet from his own goalie. I think that's just control of your stick issue, right? It's not ideal, but I'm not like, it's better than he does something not ideal in his own zone.
Welcome to hockey, where the stuff you do on purpose is fine and the stuff you do by accident isn't.
Right.
Anthony Stollers beating the brakes off of Ridley Gregg. Fine.
Yeah.
Well, I think he got a penalty for it.
He did.
Greg, I think Pete Blackburn said Greg got 2 minutes for getting his ass kicked. And then after the first period, Brady Tkachuk, also very on purpose. Robertson, this was an accident, but it was a costly one.
And I felt like the Leafs had done a good job on the PK in the second period, but once that penalty happened, you did get a bit of sense of, I did at least, I was like, maybe this is my anxiety, but it felt like a little bit of like, oh, that's not great.
Oh, the Sens had, I think it was 8 shots on their first 2 power plays. Like, no, that dam was due to break.
So they did. Brady Tkachuk did score, and
off a foot.
It goes off of Brandon Carlo into the net.
just deflections galore last night.
And here is this. Maybe this is cope of me. Okay. I want to ask you guys what you think.
Hit me.
Is my cope is that I felt like so that goal was not scored off a Senator's stick. So so Anthony Stolarz is still like, there's no, and I would say the same with the Gaudette goal, which was sort of a knuckler. The goals were not, the ones that went in were like, he literally probably couldn't help it.
He wasn't, I don't know if this is the right way to put it. There was one honest goal, if you will, last night, and it was Domi. Like
I think it is a little bit of cope, because the reason that goal is scored is because Brady gets net front position in front of Stolarz, and they feed him the puck, and he's able to make a little play that bounces off the defenseman. Like, that's a great hockey play. Like, I feel like that's a really good goal by the Sens.
Like
Tavares
don't need
scored
to
a goal.
diminish it, guys.
Tavares scored a goal that Ullmark saved, hits, I think it was Jensen, and bounces in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was one of those wild nights.
Happens. Yeah. So,
but I think the Tkachuk earned that goal.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Screw him. He sucks.
You know what? That's a fair point.
No,
That's a fair point.
Then, obviously the Leafs kind of tightened. I mean, the second period wasn't great for them, right? Not a great. I don't think it was fantastic. I don't think they were at their sharpest. And what it felt like at the end of the period was they were a little tired.
Yeah, they sat back too much.
And then in the third period, I thought the defense for the Leafs tightened up, but that Gaudette goal going in with about 5 minutes to go, it could have been, I think, in the past, a killer. It didn't feel like that, though.
No, there are times where at some point if you're going to crawl into a shell, you have to commit to it. And it felt like the Leafs were already well committed to just surviving that game. Once you don't survive it, like once they tie it, it's really difficult to just turn that back on. And the Sens, to their credit, just kept flooring it. The irony is it ended up costing them in overtime.
Right.
Thanks to the late game heroics of Anthony Stolarz. That game almost didn't make it there.
Yeah.
He made some great saves. That was a very good one, maybe his best of the series.
Jess, did you get a sense of, in the arena, how it felt when that second goal for the Sens went in?
Well, the Leafs, they stopped playing in the second period in terms of trying to generate any offense. After they got the 2-goal lead, they said, we're going to park the bus. We're going to try and just sit here and defend this lead for the rest of the game. And they were almost successful in doing that. I think that gets lost in things because Anthony Stolarz went 52 minutes in real time without facing a shot. In lifetime. I think it was 16 minutes in terms of game time. But the Sens had a lot of chances. Nothing was really dangerous.
It wasn't. They weren't getting through. There was one point where the shots were 7-0, but the shot attempts were 12-12.
Yeah, and that Gaudette goal that happened in the third period was the first shot on goal in the third for the Sens. The Leafs did a fantastic job in playing defense. They shut it down too much in the second period in particular. I think the third was a lot better overall, but in the second period they got way too comfy doing anything.
Was it complacency? Was it them trying to...
They thought they could defense their way to a 2-goal. They had a 2-goal lead, and they thought they should defense their way to the end.
I thought,
and they almost did it in the third. And that play that happens with OEL behind the net and Domi's in front. OEL's coming around the back, and he thinks Domi's going to follow him, and he's going to send that pass. And that's just a mistake they make, and it leads to a wobbly shot that's a goal.
Yeah.
So they were almost successful in it. But when you're playing on that thin of a line where it's we have a 2-goal lead, now it's a 1-goal lead, but we're still going to keep playing the same way. That's the mistakes that can happen that can burn you, where it's you have to play perfect hockey if you're just going to play in a shell for 40 minutes of the game, which they tried to do from the first period onwards.
I thought third period the Sens did a really good job managing the Leafs bench, which is it's difficult to do, but it's a great way to wear your opponent down. They made it really difficult for the Leafs to change, and all it took was 1 or 2 icings, and they just looked like they had cement for skates, and almost cost them the game.
One of the things that struck me is that, obviously the playoffs, it's the most exciting time of the year. And CJ made a point back when the Four Nations final was happening. He's like, this will be the best hockey we've seen. This will be the best hockey we've seen.
CJ is
the best level.
I think the one guy who had that tournament pegged for what it was the entire time. He was ranting and raving, and a lot of it was maybe behind the scenes. I don't know how forward facing. He was pretty excited about it on the podcast. I remember listening to a few episodes. Man, he nailed it.
Yeah. Well, and I looked at it last night, especially at the end of the second and partway through the third, and I'm like, he absolutely nailed it in the sense of there was such a beauty to the way the Four Nations kind of played out. Whereas the playoffs are just, sometimes they can be sort of like a slog fest, right? Where your guys are tired, they're pinned in their own zone and that sort of thing, and you obviously don't have the same level of skill in those areas.
There's no way to replicate that pace.
No, 100%. And I hadn't really thought of it that way until he said it in February, and then watching it last night down here and seeing the pace of play slow down. There was a lot of dump-ins on the Leafs side, right? Like it was sort of a let's drop the puck in and let's play zone or whatever, and it just seemed to be a little bit slower for times, and that caused me to get super tense. I know that the first 10 minutes of the third period were just agonizing. So a guy that really didn't have the best game overall, a guy that if you looked on Twitter, people were saying, hey, listen, like, when's Domi get benched here?
Wow, really?
Well, there were some people that were saying that. Now, I thought...
I don't know about that.
I thought it was better than that. But there...
How many months ago did I say that line shouldn't be a line in the playoffs?
And it was.
And it was. And how'd it go?
Game-winning goal.
Game-winning goal.
Yeah, well, now that you put it that way. Yeah.
When you look at the actual...
All they had to do was put Benoit on right wing.
When you look at the way it played out, it's literally just Benoit and Domi against 4 Ottawa Senators and the goalie.
That goal can't go in. It can't go in. Like, as a Leaf fan, awesome moment. Super amazing moment. Great. It's a good play by Domi. It's a smart play by Benoit. It's completely inexcusable for the Sens.
Yeah, I don't even think it was a good play by Domi. I think Batherson just makes a bad play. Sometimes when
Cousins too.
When pucks go in, you credit like the goal scorer, and you're like, that was a great play, or if it's on the defense the error. And I think in this case, it's on Ottawa for just making a terrible back check there when Batherson's coming. It just does a complete blow by on Domi. Like that's the position where it's like, no, take that.
Stay
puck.
him.
Like that's where you take the opportunity away because you turned it over on the other end, and now they're in the zone, and it's 1-on-3 essentially because Benoit's really low right now.
Yeah.
You can't let that happen.
Well, and Benoit, the left defender, going to the right and streaking down that side, I thought it was very nakedly, okay, I'm just going to rush the puck as far up the ice as I can so my boys can get a change. And when Domi shows up, he's like, okay, change of plans. Like, I'm going to cut across so I can screen. There's no chance it goes in. And my momentum is going to take me to the bench. We'll get a quick change, and we'll all have a Merry Christmas. Mm-hmm. The Sens decide to play Benoit like he's Nikita Kucherov. 2 defenders are back, and Dylan Cousins overcommits to him. That's why... What did I say?
I thought you said Dylan Cousins.
Dylan Cousins?
Dylan.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, when I'm streaming the games, I hated that Nick Cousins was in the Oh, it was so annoying.
Is it Dylan or Nick?
Dylan.
Okay.
Dylon.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, my God. It pissed me off. Don't ask me to do any Canucks games next year. 3 Petterssons, outrageous. 2 Elias Petterssons, outrageous. Anyway, Dylan Cousins way overcommits to Benoit, who is handled. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about him. There's 2 guys back. Don't worry about it. You're good. He worries about him, makes the decision, wait, I'm being ridiculous right now, way too late, stops up, Domi just blows by him. And then I saw a few Sens fans this morning, like, why didn't Drake Batherson simply kill Max Domi?
I think, like, that's, like, everything happened there.
Yeah.
And then there's one last level of defense.
Yes.
It's like, okay, you got through the first waves of the army, and then we got one guy standing there with a machine gun, and it's just you, and he can just shoot you with the machine gun, and he decides to put it down and walk away.
Even if you don't lay the body, there's no excuse to just get completely... it's a flyby. by.
Yeah.
You just get completely blown by. He puts it between your legs. It's not a huge move. It's a very subtle, nice move.
Oh, yeah.
From Max Domi.
But there's no reason for Batherson to be going with that much momentum.
None.
Just like whoosh,
None.
way by him.
None.
Like,
I don't even know who the D pair was for the Sens. Like, I put 0% of this on them. And because their forwards completely failed them. And Benoit makes it so that Ullmark does not see an atom of that puck. He didn't see the thing, and Domi puts it off the bar. What are you supposed to do if you're Ullmark? Ullmark, oh my God. First goal, goes off his skate, pulls it off the line, almost, but it goes in. Second goal goes in off your defender. Third goal, you don't even see, and it's a perfect shot.
your whole team let you down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man, just Ullmark's not going to be like that in game 2, and you blew it. Like, that's a tough one.
I think a large reason the Leafs were in a shell for the second and third period was because I think they knew that they could get these types of opportunities. I don't know if they thought that they could capitalize on them consistently and score goals, but I think what they showed in game 1 and then scoring the 2 goals early is that when they are playing at 5-on-5 for offense and they're trying to make these little plays and take advantage of the mistakes that the Sens make, they're usually able to capitalize on them. And they'll at least get the opportunities to get the attempt to capitalize on them. And I don't think they're worried too much about the Sens in these situations. So they can go into a shell with a 2-goal lead, and if it does blow up and it's back to 2-2, they can go back to playing their hockey they play at the beginning of the game, and they know they're probably going to win that battle.
So with
Benoit and Domi.
with regards to the amount of shots they're taking, right? Because there was some conversation about the Sens are sort of throwing everything at the net. And
Leafs don't do that.
No, they don't. So when you do that though, and you look at advanced numbers, right? A lot of people, especially listening to this show, will look at those things, and I want to know if you can explain like what the Leafs strategy in that is, because in previous years it was for them, well, we gotta, if these numbers aren't doing well, then we're not doing well. It seems like this year they kind of look at it differently of like, hey, as Jesse just mentioned, we get 2 styles of play here. We can go into a shell and actually effectively shut it down. And if we can't do that, if the puck doesn't go our way or if it bounces off somebody or whatever, then we can go back to playing the other way where we do. How are the Leafs generating more high danger chances that are more effective than the Senators? How is that possible?
Well, I don't know. We're in a store. People are shopping here, but they go to the net. Riley goes to the net. JT goes to the net. Nye's on the power play. Their power play's been way better at that, but they're scoring nonsense. Like, some of them are sexy goals. OEL had a snipe, but obviously Domi had a snipe. I'm talking about the first 2 games. They're going off skates. They're going off defenders. There's tips. There's rebounds. Shouldn't say nonsense, but like, listen, the Keefe Leafs were a highlight reel.
Yeah.
They were better to watch. Their highlights were better to watch, and they lost when the playoffs arrived. And these are the kinds of goals you have to friggin' score. These are the kinds of goals you have to friggin' score, dude. The Bruins, when they tied up Game 7 last year, who was it? It was their 4th friggin' line.
Right.
Well, I think it was Hampus Lindholm, but their 4th line was out there. That was ugly. Gross. Didn't like it. But how many times are we willing to be like I'm looking at how I'm talking about the Sens, and I see so much of how I used to talk about the Leafs.
Okay, and in what way?
If Ullmark had only pulled it off the line, if it doesn't bounce off Ullmark and then Jensen and in, if only they made this one play better on Domi or on Benoit, and we would trick ourselves into thinking the Leafs are one play away. They're one play away. They just got to get like a video session under them. They got to get yelled at by the coach just once. They got to get this one guy in the bottom 6 out of the lineup or off the 3rd pair, and that's just not how it works. It's a team discipline that the Leafs have this time around. That's how I feel about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, Jesse.
And I think we have to remember the 82 games that the Leafs just played.
So many games.
They played a million games like the one last night. They don't outshoot their opponent They don't dominate on offense and just storm away. They play really boring, ugly hockey, and they've been doing that all season long. And during the regular season, they were 35-1-1 when entering the third period with a lead.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's ridiculous. And if you want to go even further back in the game, when leaving the first period with a lead, so entering the second period with a lead, they were 26-3.
Jeez.
They don't play this crazy run and gun style of hockey where leads are bouncing back and forth. They usually get a lead, sit back, play a different style, let the other team get a million shots, run up the deserve to win-o-meter in the Corsi stats because the shots they're allowing are really muffins, and then they comfortably go to bed with a victory.
Well, and so 26-3, that's not even 30 games.
No.
Right? So that means the rest of them, almost 50, are tight or they're losing, right? Like
Or tied.
Yeah. Like they play they've played tight games all year. And I think that's part of the reason why, maybe we didn't give them the respect they deserved heading into the playoffs. Their goal differential wasn't even, like, you look at Tampa.
It was like 70 plus or something.
Yeah. It was ridiculous because they would run teams over. Leafs this year, with very few exceptions, just didn't really do that. They just sort of stacked up wins.
Linus, one more thing on the shots thing. I think it makes people, after 9 years in Toronto of doing it the other way, Keith Hockey, and even Babs, I mean, that was always the goal, was to outshoot teams.
Of course.
It's making people uncomfortable. It makes them a bit jittery. Is there a reason why they shouldn't be, other than, well, I mean, the 35-1-1 stat is unbelievable. Like that they
when you enter the third
period with the lead. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't it make them uncomfortable? It's going to be a process
because they won the division for the first time in forever. Like they've never had a successful regular season like this where they've taken advantage of the opportunity that they've had and capitalized it. Like they are the second best team in the Eastern Conference for a reason. Like why people shouldn't be nervous is the evidence of the body of wins in the regular season. Right. They mean something for this team this year.
So I'm trying to think back to Colorado. It's 2013 or 14. They finished, I want to say it was third in the NHL.
The Corsi Colorado team.
Yes.
And everyone was like, these guys are frauds. And they lose in the first round to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And, they won. They did all those things that we just said. I hate to be unk about this, but it's somewhat of a feel thing. Listen, there were times last night where I was like, oh, they're getting outshot, and they do not mean for it to be this way.
Right.
The Sens are outplaying them. And, there's going to be stretches in nearly every game where you're not the better team. It's ebbs and flows. But game one, all that stuff about, the Sens at 5-on-5, I thought it was all garbage. I thought it was all smoke and mirrors. It never actually felt like the Leafs were in danger. This was a much tighter game. The Sens did a better job exhausting the Leafs, like I said, hemming the Leafs in. Game one, I thought they were just peppering the net with garbage. They had a game plan that the one discipline thing I will say about the Sens is you're getting outshot 7-0. Nothing is going through. You're still firing all this stuff, and it's just hitting legs and sticks and bodies, and nothing is working. They kept doing it until it worked. So I'll give the Sens credit there. But in terms of the Leafs, I encourage you to go back and watch highlights of the Randy Carlyle Leafs. It's not the same. Not the same.
Okay, because I think that's what old fans like of our age think about when they think about being outshot. It's like, oh, James Reimer's just going to save us, and maybe we'll get a key goal.
Well, because like Reimer, one of the criticisms of him was part of the reason he faced so many shots was he would give up rebounds. Stolarz gives up rebounds, but the Leafs do a good job of clearing them because they have big bodies in front. They have a much more disciplined forward group that helps out and blocks shots. And, what we criticize the team for giving up the point too easily. And they probably still give it up a little bit, but there's a little bit of... They're doing a far superior job to blocking shots. than they did most of the season. That's probably on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
If you're blocking the most shots in the entire league all season long, surely that's going to have some sort of effect on you long term.
Yes.
Surely that's going to wear you down like a rock on the beach, right? I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place here. I didn't get a whole ton of sleep last night. These are not the Randy Carlyle Leafs.
Okay. All right. Now, on the
They're not
subject
running
of Linus Ullmark, if you're a Sens fan, you've seen 9 goals go in 2 games. And that, I think that, game 1, he looked uncomfortable. Game 2, he looked uncomfortable in the first.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the rest of the game was bad.
I thought he had a good game post first period.
Yeah.
Because, but that's how the Leafs wanted the game to go.
Yeah. Again, it goes off a skate. Although it should have been obvious that was coming. And, if it's a shot, it's probably faster. It goes off a skate. And the other one goes off his defender after he makes the initial save.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is the game wasn't on Ullmark.
No.
Yeah.
It's not like he cost them either of these victories.
No.
What would you put it on?
Team play. I think game 1 is immaturity. You've taken a whole bunch of penalties. You didn't know how to come out and play that game. And then last game, you just got outplayed because the Leafs played great defense and you had opportunities in the middle of the second where you should have pushed harder for offense because the Leafs weren't doing anything there and they were playing great defense. And you had a bunch of opportunities, but they weren't good shots.
Drake Batherson pulled off something on the OT goal that you legitimately rarely ever see. It was his fault at both ends of the ice.
Yes.
That's hard to do.
He had the turnover, and then he went back to the other end and did nothing.
Yes.
That's not on your goaltender. That's on the team and the structure.
Yes.
They got to be playing better hockey.
Yeah, Max probably should never have had a shot.
No.
Not even a floater.
No, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Batherson should have done something.
No, and Cousins. I'll still put it on Cousins.
And which one of the Cousins?
Dylan, gosh darn it.
I'm gonna do that every time.
I was about to chirp and say, I don't think Nick Cousins is seeing the ice in overtime. Oh, wait, he buried the Leafs 2 years ago. Anyway, we're talking about wins exclusively right now. The one defense of Batherson is maybe he's thinking like, well, Cousins has this. Dylan. Mm-hmm. And he didn't. Doesn't matter. Sick goal. If you're looking at it as a Leaf fan, you're like, hooray, amazing. Objectively speaking, I'm stunned. I'm stunned it went in.
Yeah.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned he got the shot off.
But that's how playoff goals are scored. Like the one that Gaudette scored is a wacky turnover by OEL and Domi where they misplay it and he sends one on net and finally it goes through. Like that's how all of these playoff goals are usually scored. It's not the William Nylander breakaways we see in the regular season. Like those aren't going to come so often in the playoffs.
Although we did get a Tavares break.
We did get that. But
yes, we did.
Which is rare.
Yeah.
but
like
yes.
that's how the Sens got to score these goals. Take advantage of the opportunities, right?
I want to ask what the players and what Craig Berube said post game, Jesse. Did you I know Travis Green was talking about. He's like, I still liked our game tonight.
Yeah,
I think
he's always
right.
going to pump up the guys.
Yeah,
he said he talked to the team because it's like not all coaches. We went through this with
Laviolette.
with Laviolette. Not all coaches go in the room and chat with the guys before they come out and talk with us. So he said, yeah, we talked before I came to see you guys, and everybody's very confident about what we're doing here. Like we lost 2 games on the road, and we're going back home now. So the series isn't lost or anything like that. We're not worried. And I think he's confident how they're playing at 5-on-5, which I don't know if he should be, but he is.
I almost wonder, like, the OT winner, do you even need to go through that play if you're the coaching staff? Like, to me, it was so bad that I think everything should be pretty obvious to elite players, which everyone in the NHL is. Mm-hmm. Batherson's a really good player. If the Sens get back in the series, a lot of that's going to be on him. They gave up a lot to get Dylan Cousins. I'm shocked by it. I'm still shocked by it.
I want to ask you about what Berube had to say. Mm-hmm. What did he kind of glean from this game? Did he give you anything?
From the game itself, I'm trying to think if because a lot of it, some of it was on Max,
Yeah.
like you asked him
A lot
about,
of focus.
like,
Even Travis Green got asked about Max Domi.
yeah, because it was funny because Max was around as a kid during those
right.
years. So Travis Green knows Max Domi from when he was a little child, 8, 12 years old and playing in Toronto. So they have that relationship, which is really cool to see and to ask him about. But like, obviously he's coming off a playoff loss. He's not really jovial about the little kid.
Max Domi.
The little kid I saw grow up score the playoff goal against me. Like, it's not a fun moment.
Oh, yeah, I'm real happy for him.
Yeah. No joy from Green there, so that was fun. But now Bariba, there's not much there to take away. I don't think post game, like they're all just on the next game. Job's not done, like that sort of mentality.
Marner said something I thought was really interesting. He said it gets harder from here, and he's right.
He's right.
Hockey is Canada's game, and we need to take it back. Okay, Canada's Stanley Cup drought has been going on for 32 years.
Too long.
That's basically a Jesse amount of years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's you grow a full grown Jesse in that time.
Exactly.
Maybe it's your fault.
This season,
it is.
This season, we're taking a page from the iconic movie Field of Dreams, and we're manifesting a Canadian Stanley Cup. Steve, you've been doing it before. Leaf games, you've been manifesting wins and goals. And
Game 1, I said a Marner game-winning goal, and I was this close. I was this close.
So here's the deal. If you build it, they will come. The campaign for Boston Pizza, hey, if they plan it, if we plan it, we will win. So listen, we want to use a little bit of our Canadian pride. We want to take our cup back. Right? Especially with everything going on in the world right now.
It's ours.
You think it's ours and we should have it back?
Yes.
I mean, it sort of lives here most of the time, down the street. I feel like it belongs in Canada as like a Canadian team winning championship.
It's home. Should be its home.
So here's the deal. We want you to tell us which city would host the best parade right now. Who's going to have the best parade?
Oshawa, next question.
I think Toronto's would be unhinged.
Yes.
I think Montreal would be a little more prepared for it, right? Because they do a lot. They do like Formula One, and they do like Montreal gets
That
crazy.
would be every bit as unhinged.
You think so?
Double plus triple.
Is Ottawa doing the parade from one farm field to the other? By Canadian Tire Center?
Where would
There's nothing really around there.
you got Edmonton, and they would just probably do it down White Avenue. I think probably
In the mall.
in the mall, just parade around the mall.
Just pack it.
Yeah,
And Montreal is the correct answer. Let's be honest.
That'd be the best one.
Montreal hockey celebrations, they always nail it.
They do. Okay, so listen, we want to know what yours are. And check out Boston Pizza this playoffs. Cheer on Canada. Let's get our cup back. Thank you very much. Now, they're going to roll into Ottawa. And, we know what the story is in regular season. And I'm not trying to take shots at the Canadian Tire Center or Ottawa fans selling their tickets to Leaf fans. I do know that there's been plenty of petitions, like Sens fans saying, I will not sell my tickets to Leaf fans. I will not sell my tickets.
I already know one who's going.
A Leaf fan
He
that's
texted me on the way there, or on the way here today.
because it's cheaper to go to Ottawa, stay in a hotel, see the game, come back than it is to see a Leaf game.
Your buddy's a Leaf fan.
He's a Leaf fan,
Yeah.
and he lives on the outskirts of Ottawa, so they live there too.
Yeah,
They live there too.
So what are your expectations for what Canadian Tire Center is going to be? Because I think it's a real factor. I know regular season and playoffs are very different, but if Leaf fans are able to come in there and be 30%, but if they can be 50% of the noise, then you sort of take the edge off the playing at home versus playing away.
I think it's going to be more red than you think.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
Listen. Here's
Than
the thing.
most people
I get
think.
people get so upset with me for merely bringing the topic up. I have no idea what it's going to be.
Oh,
I
well-
have no idea, but I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Legit. It's legit. Like, listen, how many games did the Leafs play against the Sens in Ottawa this year? Was it 2?
Probably
or,
2, yeah.
Or 1. I don't remember just because it's 3 now and whatever. You have an opportunity to make a few $100 off a game that, yeah, it's cool, Battle of Ontario and all that, but it's also game 1 of 82.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you take that opportunity if you have those tickets? Now, here come the playoffs. You can make more money, but I'm also a hockey fan, and these are the games I want to see. These are the games I don't want to miss out on. These are the games I want to tell my grandkids I was at. You know what I mean? I know it's the first round. Whatever. Shut up. Battle of Ontario, right? This hasn't happened for over 20 years. It's going to be harder to pull these tickets out of my pocket. if I'm a Sens fan. If a Leaf fan is willing to cough up the right price, give me $2,000. You know what? You know what I could maybe do? Sell my tickets, make some money, and buy cheaper ones.
Yeah. You can do
It
that.
could be a thing where like the whole upper bowl is just Sens fans.
You
know what
would
I
not
mean?
be good.
Like, well, then they're loud, and it's the upper bowl versus the lower bowl. I think like just memories of the 2017 run and some of those runs they had in the 2010s. It's going to be pretty red in there.
I don't know if you guys read the article that Julian and CJ tag teamed on in The Athletic about
would I?
the Sens trying to get Leafs fans to not buy the playoff tickets. But it was a really good read, and I thought one of the most interesting parts was that they've sold the tickets to Sens season ticket holders at a discount, right?
Okay.
But that means that they can get even more money if they want to sell it on the secondary market. And there's this little paragraph here about the dichotomy of that, you know? So I'll just read it to you guys. There's no way to completely fail-safe the system. If a season ticket holder wants to make a quick buck on the secondary market, it won't be difficult. The original batch of tickets sold to that group, so that's the cheaper level of tickets to the season ticket holders, can be transferred to other email addresses and came at a significant discount. One season seat holder told The Athletic he purchased his lower bowl tickets for the Leaf series at $175 a piece.
Wow.
Which includes parking. While the subsequent wave of tickets released by the team this week saw upper bowl seats priced as high as $300.
Wow.
As of Friday morning, the lower bowl tickets being listed on StubHub for Game 3 ranged in price from $652 to $1,693 a piece.
I mean, so the call is coming from inside the house.
The Sens thought, let's get as many season ticket holders to hold playoff tickets.
Yes.
We're going to give them at a crazy discount. That's like almost 50% of an upper bowl ticket. You get a lower bowl seat. But then how do you dissuade that then season ticket member to not make, what is that, 150% profit on selling that lower bowl seat to a Leafs fan? Like it's, but like, so what? I don't know how you combat this.
You don't. I mean,
you know how you combat it? The economy sucks.
Yeah,
Like,
or you put a winning team on the ice regularly.
That is the biggest one, bar none.
And they've done a good job of that this year. I think they were helped by Boston and New York, Montreal and Ottawa were helped by Boston and New York falling off a cliff. No, I understand that, but I mean, you can't not talk about the President's Trophy. The last 2 years, both teams just falling off a cliff. Like you kind of have to talk about that. Kind of important that those spots opened up. They took advantage. And if Ottawa in 5 or 6 years has made the playoffs every one of those 5 or 6 years, I don't think we're having the same conversation. Right? I don't think that's a talk. But
Buffalo too.
Ottawa was burned by their own leadership for 15 years.
Detroit too. I don't know. The Leafs have a very large,
they're travelers,
sprawling fan base. They're willing to travel. The Leafs fans love a drive. But like, look at the teams we're talking about. Detroit's been ass for quite a while. Buffalo's been ass for even longer. And then there's Ottawa. Ottawa's good now.
Yeah.
They're in the playoffs.
Yep.
You know, I don't think you're going to see as many Leaf fans as you expect.
All right. Well, listen, it's going to be really exciting.
I think there's going to be quite a few.
There's going to be quite a few.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like the regular season. Regular season, there were nights where it was pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you're
also,
like, okay, this is a home.
But again, the team was pathetic and the ownership was pathetic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame them. Like, who would have... would you have really wanted to spend all the money that you made and all that, your fund budget on Eugene Melnyk?
Oh, dude.
Absolutely not.
If I'm the Sabres of the past few years, okay, I can make $500 in a day and go watch the Blue Jackets instead. Like, fine.
Easy call.
Easy call. They're in the last.
I don't think so.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?
Yep. I totally get it.
Yeah.
All right, so time for our clutch play of the game. I mean, the clutch play of the game was kind of an easy one here.
Kirill Kaprizov.
Well, I mean, he was amazing last night. We are going to talk about that, but I mean, it has to be Max Domi, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Worst quote on the whole Leafs.
Max Domi?
Yeah.
Like, in general?
Yeah.
I'm shocked by that.
I'm trying to think of who's good, could be a worse quote.
Really? What did you say last night?
You flush it in game 3.
I don't care. That's the right attitude. That's the right attitude. You know what? Marner's been such a grumpy Gus all season, and I love it for him. I really do love it for him. He's got his head screwed on tight this year.
I would like Max Domi to admit that it was freaking cool.
Oh, yeah.
I would like him to do it again. I just want him to do it again.
So Morgan and Max did their post-game presser together because we'll get 2 guys in the room or sometimes 3 post-game, and then the guys will go to the podium, and they'll pair up guys on the podium. 2 guys who had big nights that night. So Morgan and Max are at the podium, and Max is not giving anybody anything. He's saying, it's on to game 3. It's a great win for the team.
Good.
Not even acknowledge that it's cool for him to do it with the connection to his father.
Who was high-fiving people, by the way, afterwards.
Which that's important to mention. He does not do that.
No, he doesn't want to be disturbed when he's watching his
He
kid.
doesn't even want to be around people. Like, I think if they could corner off a whole section of Scotia for Ty, he would allow that.
There was a guy last year who I think patted him on the back, and the camera cut just as Ty was looking at him as if wondering how many bites it would take to eat him. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It's frightening.
So finally, someone asked Morgan, like, hey, what does this mean for Max? Because Max is not giving anything.
In front of him?
Yes. And then Morgan does the thing where he talks about Domi like he's not there. And he says, I can't imagine what he's feeling in this moment for this kid to do that in this moment in Toronto. And he's probably going through so much.
Do you want the
emotion.
exact quote?
Sure.
It's from your Twitter account. Morgan Riley with high praise for Max Domi. Every day is a real privilege when you play with guys like him. For him to have that moment in overtime here at home is extremely special for all of us. I can't imagine how he's feeling. You did a really good job remembering that.
So yeah, that's what
It's almost like you wrote it.
And it was like, okay, yeah, can we all acknowledge that this is probably the coolest moment of his life?
I mean, it's the best.
I don't know if he has another play.
Is that not the best goal he's ever scored in terms of not in terms of skill, but in terms of most important?
His whole life.
Yeah.
That's the biggest goal of his life.
Because even the World Juniors would pale in comparison to the NHL playoffs. I think it should. It should.
He was very good there.
He was killer at
very
that
good
tournament.
there.
And that was in
2015.
Toronto.
And that was in Toronto.
I'm so unbelievably happy for him because it doesn't happen like this in sports a lot, where your dad played for the team, you grow up here, you then play for the team, then you get the moment at home in overtime in the playoffs for a team that notoriously does not come up in these moments, and you get to be that guy. That's so cool for Max.
Last playoff overtime winner for the Leafs at home in front of people. Who was it?
Last playoff overtime winner at home.
It's a long time ago. Not that long.
Is it Kasperi?
No.
Oh, okay. Because that was a Game 3 winner, wasn't it?
It was game 2, and that was in Washington.
Okay.
You said
you're
in front of
one
people.
game off.
So is it Bozak?
It was Bozak
In 2017?
in 2017.
Because they had in the bubble. They had
Matthews scored on home ice in overtime against Columbus, but I think that was technically a road game, even though it was in Toronto.
it was here.
It was here, but
no people saw it.
no one saw it.
Yeah.
No one saw it. So it was the first home goal for Toronto in front of fans since 2017.
Crazy.
In
That's
overtime
awesome.
in the
Crazy.
playoffs.
So that's
I am so happy for Domi.
Yes, me too.
this clutch playoff moment is brought to you by Clutch. Whether you are just curious to know what your car is worth or you're ready to sell your car right away, Clutch.ca, check it out or use the QR code and get a real offer on your car in 1 minute. That's it. It's that easy. Have you guys seen Sid and Nate lately? They've been going full in their disguises on TV with the new Tim's retrospective rookie hockey cards. You've seen the.
I couldn't
Yes.
even tell it was them.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
I picked a Sid card the last time we opened packs.
I'm jealous of that. Okay, Steve is taking forever as usual to open the cards up.
I like to be
Let's see what we
dramatic
get. All right.
about it.
All right. What do we have, Jesse?
Oh, I got Wyatt Johnston of the Dallas Stars.
Oh, okay. Has he changed that much?
No, that's the thing. Rookie year 2022.
Bit of a shorter retrospective.
Yeah, it's like a couple of years past
That's right.
retrospective.
It's
That's
like when
fun.
One Direction started coming out with autobiographies and they were like 21.
So I finished high school.
Yeah.
Adam,
And you got famous.
I want you to go second.
Okay, here we go. You
I got
ready?
a real cool one.
I got Dylan Strome.
Oh.
Started off with the Coyotes. It's hard to believe Dylan Strome has only been in the NHL for 5 years, but look at him this year. Been unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
I got.
Oh, sorry, 8 seasons. I'm wrong.
I was like, wait, that seems
right.
wrong. Alex Ovechkin, but it's a 3D card.
Oh,
whoa!
I missed the 3D card.
It's like he's here. It says success, starting success. This is an insert card on the back. Ovechkin scored at even strength and on the power play the second period of his NHL debut with the Capitals on October 5th, 2005.
Those hologram cards or whatever, they were so cool back in the day. Remember when those first came out?
And they're so cool now
They are.
because we got one from Tim Hortons.
Visit your local Tim Hortons or download the Tim's app and start collecting their new retrospective rookies hockey cards. Every pack features current and retired NHL and PWHL players from their rookie year, plus the chance to win prizes like autographed jerseys. So it's hard to believe because a lot of teams are 2 and almost 3 games into their series, but the Battle of Florida started last night. And
The battle.
well, it was a kicking.
Holy moly. Wow.
And miracle of science, Matthew Tkachuk somehow was able to be ready for this game despite being on the edge of death the entire end of the season. Now, here's the thing. The reason I'm gonna take shots here, and I am gonna take my shot here, is that Elliot Friedman has been talking about how teams have been investigated for LTIR abuse. So Gabriel Landeskog obviously took warm-ups in Colorado. We thought he was going to play,
yes,
but Miles Wood ended up being in that spot. And then Evander Kane has not been able to play for the Oilers, and they're going, well, we don't want to mess with the LTIR folks. They're the NHL is really scrutinizing that, and they're really going after teams. Matthew Tkachuk came back and was an absolute rock star last night. 2 goals and an assist.
Yep.
All attitude, all Matthew. Like, playoff Matthew Tkachuk is the best. He's crazy unless you have to play him. I'm just wondering, why does that not rule apply here? Because you're talking about Evander Kane, who missed 82 games, Gabriel Landeskog, who's missed well over 200.
Yeah.
And I think the more egregious thing is when you drop a guy midseason, you're able to add a huge defenseman, and then all of a sudden he comes back game 1 and he's fine. Like, if that's going to be the issue, and by the way, for the record, I don't have an issue putting players on LTIR and letting them come back in game 1 because I think it's better for the game. But if you're going to scrutinize some, you need to scrutinize them all. Don't you think?
Yes. I mean, this all kind of starts with, well, I guess the real first one was Patrick Kane with the Chicago Blackhawks. That one was pretty heavily scrutinized. The most publicly and loudly scrutinized was Nikita Kucherov.
During I think it was 21? Bubble or 21?
Yes, because I think he won the cup, basically didn't play, comes back, and didn't he win the Conn Smythe?
Yeah.
Like, he was unbelievable. Here's why I think it's kind of trash. First of all, Matthew Tkachuk, for weeks now, I've been like, well, we have no idea what he's going to look like. He could look great, but I mean, based on what we've seen and how long he's been out, I don't think he will be. Whoops. Wrong. He looks great. He's full of swagger, and he looks healthy. That's the most important part. I don't think the swagger ever went away. Where I think it's bull is, like, are you questioning then the legitimacy of the injuries? Are you saying these guys could have come back sooner? Are you saying the Colorado Avalanche are at an unfair advantage because they're using a player who hasn't played a hockey game since 2022?
And only recently played his first professional games.
Yeah.
Like a couple weekends ago.
Yes. Like, are the Oilers, like, brilliant, just gaming the system because they're using Evander Kane, who, did he play a regular season game?
No, I don't think he did.
And was very obviously hurt the last time we did see him, which is why he's missed the whole regular season. Is there some sort of cheat code where guys come back and they're awesome every time? Like, guys miss an entire season and they come back just A-okay? That seems like the exception, not the rule. Mm-hmm. So I am very confused as to why the NHL is coming down extra hard on those two teams in particular. I don't understand that. Like, there's the logic of, well, Tkachuk was hurt in season.
Okay.
And had to heal his injury.
See, but I think there's less logic in that.
I agree with you.
Because Edmonton and Colorado went into this season knowing that both of those guys just wouldn't be there and might not be available for the playoffs.
Both guys who went under the knife
within the last few months.
And like multiple times.
And so, I think Kane had a surgery back in like January, February, something like that. Like, that's what I mean, Mike.
I'm talking about Landeskog.
Has he been under the knife recently?
I don't know how recently, but like I'm pretty sure he's had multiple knee surgeries.
And so I'm looking at this the Tkachuk thing. And by the way, again, I'm happy he's back. But my point in all of this is if you're gonna scrutinize a couple, you got to get everybody. And Florida did they did sort of benefit cap wise. They made, or I don't even say benefit. They made the best of the cap situation.
Yes.
And by doing so and getting Seth Jones and getting Brad Marchand, they were like, well, we can't bring Matt Tkachuk back until the first game.
Well, you can't just hang your head and be like, oh, woe is us.
No.
There's an injury. You got to be like, all right, well, we're going to go out and we're going to get Seth Jones. And we're going to get Brad Marchand.
Which was a smart thing to do.
And we're going to get Nico Sturm was another guy. I think he got hurt. Like,
I don't understand why there's a differentiation point there. And it was they could not have made that Seth Jones trade, I don't think, if Matthew Tkachuk's healthy.
The only thing that makes any kind of sense to me is there's just something the public doesn't know. Because otherwise, I think it's nonsense.
Okay.
And Landeskog, he misses game 1. He's coming back game 2. Hey, finger wag. And now he's allowed to come back game 3. What's the friggin' difference?
Well, that's the other thing.
Well, who cares?
I don't understand. Listen, I understand caps for regular season, stuff like that, but I just don't care about a cap in the playoffs. I really don't think it matters. I don't care. You can't get me to care about it. I can't care. I just don't. You cannot move me on this. Okay.
How do
the
you...
NHL legitimately wants to go into the best time of the season and go, I'm sorry, you're not cap compliant, so keep the superstar out. We'd prefer that the hockey got worse just so you're cap compliant. No, you don't.
Did you notice how much the Panthers kind of sucked?
Yeah.
They were not good.
And last night,
Matthew Tkachuk.
Pretty good.
And then they got him back, and because they rehabilitated him, and he put in the work, and I'm missing it.
Yeah.
I'm missing it here.
He did it all in 11 minutes and 43 seconds. It's important to know he took a penalty. And first off, I want to talk about the Sam Bennett goal. Sam Bennett scores a goal out of midair, doesn't even make the top 3 stars of the game. I was like, that's not fair. Did you see that goal?
No, that game fell to the wayside. I kept getting updates from Drew during the game. It was a nice distractor because I was like, the Leafs game was very tight, and I was getting stressed, and he kept just being like, Panthers are up by 1. Panthers are up by 2. Panthers are up by 3.
It was a tip out of midair.
It was crazy.
It was unbelievable.
It's like knee level. It's just an unbelievable goal. But it's what happens after that is really, really interesting.
With the LTIR stuff, I think we're making a lot of assumptions based on Elliott's report, because his report is that the NHL was being more stringent about it this year, right? And that they're looking into the medical records, and they want to make sure that guys are actually injured, which isn't something they haven't not done in the past.
Yep.
Like they look into the medical records and they make sure, like, hey, you're going to be on the LTIR or not. And we saw Sagan come back in game 82.
He's another one.
And Dougie Hamilton come back in 82.
He's another
because I assume the league looked into it and they said, you know what, you guys can't push this. These guys are healthy. They can play.
Okay.
So we don't know that they also didn't look into Tkachuk. Mm-hmm. You know, because
I agree.
He only reported on Evander Kane because it's hockey night in Canada, and it's an Oilers story.
Yes,
Evander Kane is the thing that'll get the most headline and get the most clicks and everything. I think it's important to report on the Oilers there, but it doesn't mean they didn't not look at Tkachuk too.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we know everything.
Yeah,
There's something we're not being told, but it makes the story more frustrating because we're just, again, how many NHL stories are we just sitting here friggin' guessing because no one tells us anything?
Right.
So your expectation would be that the league it divulge like the medical records that they're looking into for each team, because I don't think that's fair on the league.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying it's frustrating to have an opinion when you don't know everything. And if I'm an Avs fan or a Oilers fan, I'm pissed because one, you're hurting my team, and two, I almost said B, and B, C, which one we're on, you won't tell me, or I don't know what the difference is. So I'm just sitting here frustrated.
So I think the teams know.
I assume that.
As a fan, you might not know what happened with Kane and the league and the Oilers, whether he is good to play, whether he's not, whether Bettman sent a memo. He's like, don't put him in for game one, because Bettman will do that kind of stuff because he gets involved in everything, and we know.
Yes.
But as a fan, you don't know, but they know as the Oilers.
Okay, so do you think? I mean, Gabriel Landeskog in this particular instance, it makes sense that he would make his debut in Colorado. I can see why a game 3 start
I don't think
matters.
the league made a call on Landeskog.
So with Evander Kane, is that the same then? Are they saying wait till game 3 when the Oilers are at home?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I only know what was reported by Elliott, which is that they're looking more into they've done in the past where they look into the medical records, and especially with guys who go on LTIR for the rest of their careers. They're very stringent about that, getting third-party doctors to confirm all that, and league doctors. And now they're doing it even more with the guys who are out for the season. They come back in one of the playoffs. So I don't know if it's they made a call on Kane, or if it's just the Oilers were like, hey, he's not ready.
Is there a factor here that it's Kane? And he's been he's had to talk to the league a lot.
Yeah, he's been a thorn in the league's side many times.
And not regular stuff.
Yeah.
Not you know what? He was suspended for wasn't it falsifying a medical document?
His vaccine.
Wasn't it COVID record?
Yeah, 21 games.
Yeah.
I think that might be why they're treating it with a little more scrutiny. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's interesting.
It's not like it's the first time he's lied to them. Right? Okay, so that's
But
fair.
the guy legitimately got surgery. He did not play this year.
Right. Well, and this is the thing. I wish it would be nice if the league operated with rules. It's okay, here's
where would the fun be?
Here
there?
is what the rule is, and here's what you can expect.
Yeah.
And as a fan, I don't know how much fans of those teams really care, right?
Of course.
But if you're an Avs fan, you're I just want to see Gabriel Landeskog back on the ice. It's such a feel-good story. What an emotional boost that's going to be when he inevitably does. I just feel man, it would just be so nice from a coverage perspective to be what are they doing?
I think another reason why it's a story with Landeskog, number one, is a really cool moment that everyone thought they were getting for game 2 and they didn't get. And number two, Miles Wood goes into the game for the Avalanche in place of him and does not play well.
No.
I'm getting all of this from producer Drew.
By the way, when I was doing the Montreal stream and people said, "Oh no, Miles Wood is he's the right guy to go in. Gabe's hasn't played in a long time, blah blah blah." And I guess he didn't have a great game. So there you go.
He did not.
Peloton has what you need to get your body where you want it to be, right? And everybody's got different goals and different things, and that's why Peloton specializes in 4-week strength building classes. So you can, and the great thing about this is you can kind of take these anywhere. It's not just, everybody's used to seeing the cycling or even the Peloton tread, which are all really useful, but you can actually just go out to your backyard as it's a sunny day outside right now and work out there.
It's not a one-trick pony.
Now, challenge yourself anywhere. You can bring it on vacation. It's backed by thousands of members whose lives were changed, including Mr. Steve Dangle, Peloton user.
Legs feed the wolf. I'm jacked down there.
Peloton helps you get stronger with strength classes, workout generators, and personalized programs on the Peloton Tread and Strength Plus app. Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onePeloton.ca. Okay, on to the Panthers game, unless you guys have more to add on the LTIR.
Oh, I want to see this Bennett goal.
This Bennett goal is crazy.
So obviously we can't show it.
And I think... Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Wow.
Spectacular.
He wasn't one of the stars? And that was the first goal of the game?
No, he was not one of the stars of the game. That was the first goal of the game.
Who the hell passed him that puck?
Sam Miskevich.
Oh, he's so good.
He is good.
Mackey.
And here's the thing. About 10 minutes later, Matthew Tkachuk takes a penalty. And
on brand.
Jake Gensel scores and chirps Matthew. Yells at him. The Twitter account, unfortunate hockey events or whatever it is.
Yes.
And there's that picture of Jake Gensel yelling at Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
And
when are people going to learn?
Well, I was going to ask the same question. Like, Jake, listen, I know you're pumped, but like
Like
you don't need to do that, man.
like sun to a flower. Like your hatred sustains him. He wants this out of you. You know, it's funny. Like Gensel's obviously an incredible playoff performer. I'm not taking anything away from him. But my favorite Jake Guentzel clip is from an outdoor game between the Penguins and the Flyers when Guentzel was still on the Penguins. And it's just Travis Konechny motor mouth. Like just yip, 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 yip. All game long. He's telling everyone to take your ear cuffs off because he doesn't know what earmuffs are. you nerd. And then it's just Guentzel on the bench going, shut up.
Steve, you actually...
So he can get rattled.
You said something there that is, it's true, but you didn't even state it how true it is. Ooh. You said Jake Guentzel is an incredible playoff performer, so I'm not taking anything away from him. Mm-hmm. He's not just an incredible playoff performer. He's one of the best of all time.
Oh, yeah. He's elite.
There's only 6 players in the NHL with a higher goal per game rate in the postseason than Jake Guentzel.
Goal per game.
Ever.
Whoa.
The 6 guys are Wayne Gretzky, Rocket Richard, Mike Bossy, Mario Lemieux, Cam Neely, Nathan McKinnon, and then at 7, Jake Guentzel.
Oh man.
Wow. He's one of the most underrated playoff performers in the history of the NHL.
So Carolina, they get a lot of stick for not being able to get like over the hump, go all the way, and they lost Jake Guentzel after they traded for him. I think it's okay if you get him as a rental on account of what the insane thing Jesse just said.
Yeah, those years where he's with Crosby and like. Obviously, Crosby and Malkin are there, but Guentzel's carrying his own, like
wow,
throughout those entire Cup runs. Yeah, it's and he's started off this playoffs again with the goal for Tampa, and then things went to hell.
They did,
but like just credit Jake Guentzel.
Yeah, the game was close at one point.
He does his thing in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
it was close until the Sam Reinhart goal in the last minute of the first. There was 2-1, still close, but. 441, 455, and 944. A goal from Nate Schmidt, a goal from Matthew Tkachuk, a second goal from Matthew Tkachuk. And by the way, 2 of those are on the power play. So there's, not only, so Gensel's goal was on the power play. Tkachuk's like, oh, you want to chirp me? I'm going to put 2 goals in on you on the power play.
Is John Cooper losing his touch? you gotta, no, I'm not as a coach, as a litigator. Like you're supposed to, you got to manage who's going in and out of the box there, John.
Right,
that's like your best thing.
And Braden Point did score later in the second period, but that was basically it. Nate Schmidt added 1 more, and the game was over.
So, Steve, I know you didn't see it. So the Nate Schmidt to Tkachuk goal in the second period there, where they come out of the first, it's 2-1 Florida, and then you enter the second period. Nate Schmidt scores a goal. And John Cooper challenged that goal for goalie interference because he thought that the puck was poked and on Vasilevsky and that he moved him and the puck went in the net. And then that led to the Matthew Tkachuk power play that leads to the goal.
Got it.
In that situation, if I'm John Cooper, like I know you want to get that goal back. It's in the second period. You're going down 3-1, but that power play where they score, the game's over.
Yes.
Like the game's over. Florida's dominating. It's 4-1. You're not getting anything back. So I think it was a bad call on him, especially because of how it played out, to make that challenge if it wasn't 100% we're going to win this challenge. And it wasn't because they lost it.
Not to make this about the Leafs, but there was a little micro moment there where Ottawa tied it, and the Leafs took a timeout to do an extra review for offside. Yes. And I honestly, it might have been. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to tell because of the tag up and everything and who touched what. But the Leafs video crew, which I believe is perfect this season,
best in the league,
didn't challenge. Sometimes your best challenges are the ones you don't do.
And
you can't be emotional about it.
Yeah, Adam, you asked about Berube post game. That's something he mentioned. He said we weren't certain on that, so we didn't do it.
Yeah. And I think that's the right call.
Yeah. That was a little shove there, Steve. If you want to see it, I know.
Sorry.
To catch it there. So this little that poke on Vasilevsky there is what Cooper challenged. So here, right there, that little. snuff.
He does move them.
He does,
but
it
goalie
wasn't
interference is so subjective.
It wasn't enough, and I guess that's on the video crew, but John Cooper to listen to the video crew, I guess. But like in that moment, bad challenge could probably cost you the game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough.
It does
because
it gets the ball. It gets the ball rolling in a different direction.
Yeah.
So it is tough. I don't know what I would have done in that scenario. I think emotion would have taken over if I don't have those two voices like Berube does upstairs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And how much do you trust your penalty kill?
Yeah.
You know,
I
if
mean,
you're
and,
like-
and they should.
I have Anthony
Yeah, they should.
Cirelli. I trusted just fine.
Yeah, but Matthew, shortly into that power play too, it wasn't even long. Like he scores that goal and 4-1, and the Lightning had a terrible second. Like it wasn't even close the way they played in that second. They had given up once it was at that moment. So kudos to the Panthers for taking advantage of the opportunities.
I do want to point something out. 2018, Lightning Bruins second round, because the Bruins had just beaten the Leafs. Tampa wins that series in 5. They lose game 1, 6-2. So there's hope. It's not over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
the
game
Panthers
one.
are going to run them over. It's just not how it works. It's just not how it
Game
works.
ones are always kind of goofy in the first round.
Yeah.
Yes. They have a habit to get away from you.
Paul Maurice post game, he's a fascinating guy to just listen to talk to, because whatever you think he's gonna say, he always comes out of left field and says something completely out of nowhere. And he was like unhappy with the game and didn't have any answers for how the Panthers played, because he was like, we dominated so much in the second period that's hard for me to judge this game. I don't know what to say about my team's performance. I don't know if it was good or it was bad because we were so dominant in the second period.
He became Leafs coach too young.
Yeah.
Like too soon.
wish
Too
we
early in his career.
I wish we got this Paul Maurice.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, he would be a delight.
Yeah.
Absolute delight.
And the reporters, they told him that they dominated the hit chart, because if you look at it, I don't have it in front of me what
Florida did?
the hit split was, but here it is, 48-28.
Wow.
Good Lord.
And they told Paul Maurice that, and he's like, I don't even think we were that physical.
This guy.
I'm like, he's got an answer for everything.
The best matchup of the playoffs is John Cooper versus Paul Maurice press conferences.
Oh,
It is like
a presser off.
Yeah, a press off. Yeah, presser off. I like that, man. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's genius quotes.
And the best quotes come out of those guys, both of them, when they win.
Yes.
When they
Yes.
lose, it's like, it's kind of boring. When those guys win, because they don't want to get anybody too overhyped, but they also are pretty confident, both of them. There's a bit of an ego attached.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of fun to watch them. Like, it is sort of fun to watch how they handle it. And Paul Maurice going, I don't even know. We were so good, I couldn't possibly tell you how good. That's what he's
my God.
essentially saying.
Yeah, he was like that. I can't judge that game because that second period we were just so dominant. Like it's not fair for me to judge that game.
I feel like that's a little time bomb. Like you don't even think about it when it's said. And I think right around it's about lunchtime the day after the game. I think the Lightning are getting more and more pissed about that quote.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
What do you mean? What do you mean?
John Cooper can't be happy.
No.
Like he wants to win the presser off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
'Cause he normally
the other
does.
dude. Yeah.
Every time the Leafs have played the Lightning, he has won the press conference off. And Keefe was a good quote,
Oh yeah.
but Keefe was
Too good sometimes.
He was a rage quote,
Yes.
and good or bad.
And he still is in New Jersey.
Yeah, and
as we've
speaking
saw.
of, I want to talk about that game
Seen.
because once the game kicked off, Jesper Bratt had the first goal, and everybody's like, okay, all right. The rest of the way, it just was Carolina.
What did I say would be the only reason New Jersey might win this series?
Him?
No, they're decor.
Oh, they're decor. Yeah.
And heading into last night, they lose Dylan and Luke Hughes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Like what
Yeah, all
are you
right.
supposed to do?
Sometimes it just ain't your year, right?
No, and like I think there's going to be some people chirping Keefe because the first round thing. I mean, the series isn't over. It's not over. But like, Jesus, like that's really hard. That's really hard to overcome. And the guys you're replacing those guys with are the right guys, but they're still very young. They're not everyday players. Like you need those performances, but you're down your toughest defenseman.
Yep.
You're down, I mean, just one of your better puck movers. How do you have two Hugheses and you don't have either? Like,
yeah, it's a good point.
and you're without your one of the best forwards in the league. Like, it's, and what I did think was interesting though is that game, the style of it reminded me a lot of like whenever the Leafs didn't have Matthews. Keefe's Leafs without Matthews just reverted to a really tight, low-scoring style, and it had a lot of success with it. So when I saw the score was so tight, I wasn't surprised.
Pesce, Dumoulin, and Hamilton all played over 23 minutes.
That is the correct move.
Like they didn't have Hughes, they didn't have Dillon, they didn't have Siegenthaler. It was
they don't have Siegenthaler either?
No.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
Like the game wasn't fair.
What are you supposed to do?
It's a beat up Devils team, and like credit to them for sticking around and keeping it a relatively close game. But like Pesce saved, I think, like 2 goals off the line. There's one goal where there's nobody in net. I don't know where Markstrom was, and Pesce just
on one of his
blocked it.
adventures. He loves it.
He's the reason.
He's one of the most mystifying goalies in the league.
He's the reason for if you're a goaltender, 10 the goal.
That dude has like legitimately helped my career.
Yeah. So there's one where Markstrom's not in the net and Pesce just saves it through his own will. It hits him and he blocks the puck that was going to clear net. And then early on in the game, he saves one like right off the line, and Carolina thinks it goes in. The refs are like, no, it's not in. So like, if it wasn't for Brett Pesce just being a man on a mission and stopping all these goals, it's even worse. But like, that's what you got to get from your players when you're so shorthanded with 3 defensemen who should be in the lineup, not in the lineup. So it's tough. It's real tough for them.
I was just having a gander at the shots. Like,
yeah,
if you're the Devils, you take some solace in that game. A little bit like the Sens look at game 2, like, all right, we lost, we're down 2-0, but it's tight, and this game 2 was tight, and we're going home. Mm-hmm. Like, it's your one saving grace if you're in New Jersey. If you can. You got to be looking at it like, all right, if we just win our home games, we need to steal 1 on the road somehow. We'll figure it out. But as long as home is our castle, we have a chance in the series. Obviously, if they lose game 3, they're dead.
And then the one thing that I was talking about, because I picked New Jersey to win this series, and like I can't change my pick now.
It's not a horrible pick.
But like going into it, I was like, okay, so Carolina's got a great penalty kill.
Yes.
New Jersey's got a great power play.
Yeah.
If they can win that special teams battle, there's something there.
Yep.
Nason and Meyer and those big bodies.
And then in this game, the power play looks awful.
Yep.
It's terrible power play, and they allow shorthanded goal. Like that, Martinook scored a shorty in the second period there, and it's like, okay, your opportunities to win the battle there, where you get 3 power play opportunities, and your power play looks awful because so many guys are out. But they've been out for a little bit here during the regular season. So, like, they're not capitalizing on the opportunities. They're shorthanded. Like, it's such an uphill battle. Like, I don't know how they pull out this series.
Yeah, it's man. Last year they didn't even make the playoffs because of all the injuries, and this year they did make the playoffs. But
And then the injuries came.
unless they pull out 1 in New Jersey, it almost feels like there's no point.
On Vegas and Minnesota, you probably missed it because
It was at 2 a.m.
Exactly. But Kirill Kaprizov might have had the single best solo performance of the playoffs last night, and it's unfortunate that everybody missed it. Because he was absolutely everywhere. By the way, Matt Boldy already has 3 goals. Kaprizov got 2 last night, but I want to show you a pass.
Oh, I saw this one.
This pass is,
And we can't show it.
Oh, we can't show. Can we show where the pass was?
Where it
mid-air?
starts and where it ends?
Where it starts and where it ends. That's the only thing I want to show you. So look at this. Okay,
He's at his own.
Look at that
face-off dot.
That is insane.
And Boldy receives it on his backhand,
Which is also impressive.
Ew. Oh, God.
What a crazy pass. And of course, the Minnesota, I almost called them North Stars, Minnesota Wild, I don't know why, they tie the series up with Vegas.
And take one in Vegas.
That's big.
Very, very big. Very, very big. And now these guys who you were not able to shut down in your own barn have home ice advantage. Maybe producer Hayden had a point.
He said, I was texting with him last night. He's like, you guys didn't take me seriously. He's like, this is a really, really good hockey team.
There were 2 series I was open to being wrong on. And it was this one and Carolina, New Jersey. I kept going, the Devils, their defense. Everyone's hurt now.
I think a large reason Minnesota was in that game is because They got a spectacular Ryan Hartman game, which isn't something I like saying because I think the guy's a dirty piece of poo.
But this is dirty piece of poo season.
It's dirty piece of poo season, and he didn't take any dumb penalties. There's actually no penalties in the game. Penalty-free game, which I think is rare. Which
you would think is Vegas's advantage.
You think so?
I would.
I would think like Vegas would want if there's a lot of penalties, like they're going to be able to capitalize on the power play, I think, more than the Wild because of the talent that Vegas has.
They beat the brakes off the Wild in game 1, though, like physically.
Right.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I don't know. You would think that's Vegas's advantage.
Well, it didn't work to this game because like what Vegas does well is rolling all their lines, all 4 lines, and that's what Minnesota did last game because the Hartman, Foligno, Nyquist line, the new line, they're moving Hartman up to that third line there. Like that's the line I think that was the best all game. Michael Russo in The Athletic was writing all about it. And Gus Nyquist, they essentially didn't have him all season. He scored 1 5-on-5 goal in 73 games. So essentially, he didn't play hockey for them. And this game, like, he was great. Like that third line was able to take advantage of the matchups against Vegas because when you're at home and you're sending your team out, you're matching the top lines against the lower lines. But when Minnesota has their third line performing like a first line, how do you win the matchups? And that's what kind of happened last night.
You're really thoroughly onto something with Hartman. Mm-hmm. So his first few years in the league, like his first few playoff runs, 4 games, no points, 9 games, 3 points, 4 games, no points, 7 games, 2 points. Here's his last 3. So he's got 2-2 so far. Last year 2 years ago he had 5-5, and the year before that he had 5 points in 6. So he's been nearly a point a game playoff performer.
Yeah.
For whoever he's played for, and it's been Minnesota. Sorry, he pinged around a lot at the beginning of his career, but that's all with Minnesota.
And like that depth scoring that you're getting from a Ryan Hartman type is what you need for the Wild to win these games in this series because you're not going to get you can't rely on Kaprizov to make everything. You know, you can't play your playoff game the way you kind of play these regular season games, the way they were dominant in the fall, where it's Kaprizov running everything. They need the 4 lines rolling. It was really 3 lines because I don't think the 4th line, the Trennan, Rossi, Brazeau line was great, but like when they're getting that depth,
was there.
Yeah, that was a weird. Man, the Bruins. Everything that wasn't bolted down, they got rid of.
When they get those 4 lines, they're dangerous.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Going around the league just very quickly, it was the all comeback night the night before. The Canadians came back against the Capitals, but Ovi obviously scored his first ever overtime goal in the playoffs.
Insane,
which is hard to believe that even happened. I do want to highlight something. Patrick Laine has been great for the Habs, but one problem that he has in his game for them this year, and Habs fans will tell you this, is his giveaways.
The permanent rookie.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. When you look at the play that led to the defensive zone faceoff for the Habs, where Laine is unable to tip it, everybody's like, well, he got pushed over and that should have been a penalty. First off, that's never a penalty in the playoffs, and I understand why people are mad about it, but it's never a penalty. It's not that play that leads
enormous.
to it. Well, he's also 6'4" and like 220.
6'5".
That exact play had happened.
Yeah.
Literally 10 seconds before that. And he had like this weak backhand from center ice that failed to go anywhere, which allowed the Caps to go back in. Montreal tries to clear again. And then it turns into an icing. And so it's literally the same play twice. And he bungles it twice.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, like that is ultimately what leads to the opportunity for Ovi. Ovi had to bury it, but what I saw from that game was Suzuki line was going. They looked good on the power play. They looked good on 5-on-5.
They're legitimately excellent.
Capitals are 100% the better team. They should win this series. They dominated most of the game.
Sure.
That the Habs got nothing from Demidov, got nothing from Newhook, and nothing from Laine. That line. Listen. Next year, there's no way that the Habs are like, Newhook's the guy we want to put between Demidov and Laine.
Demidov's there's been a few clips of his back checks going around, and they're terrible. But like, isn't he still a teenager?
Yeah.
These are the mistakes you expect out of a guy like that. Laine came into the league as a 40 goal scoring phenom. And we were like, oh my God, this guy's so incredible. And yeah, his defense is terrible, but like that'll improve. Nope. Like there's been no evolution to this player's game, and he was drafted 9 years ago. Like it's not cute anymore. This isn't like Demidov. You can scratch him, and yeah, he's a rookie, and he will benefit from watching. And what's it going to take for Laine to? I almost want to say take hockey seriously,
or just stay focused. Especially in that instance, you're in overtime.
Yeah.
Stay on your feet,
dude. You make over $8 million. You make over $8 million. That is too much money for you to be only good at one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If he turned into the player we all assumed he could be,
monster.
Habs could run through the league.
Yep. In the Kings and Oilers, I gave
holy moly,
what a crazy game this was. Great comeback by the Oilers, only to be sort of stymied by this bizarre play. But I do want to mention that Evan Bouchard was scored on consecutive shifts.
Legitimately, one of the he is my muse, my flame.
Both of them,
I love watching.
Both of them are off of his giveaways too, directly off his stick. And what's crazy is you still get Oilers fans in your mentions going, yeah, Stuart Skinner was terrible though. Evan Bouchard was a +1 with 3 assists.
Guys,
did you win the game?
It's a group project. You all get the same mark.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You all get the same mark. There was, I think it was the 3-0 goal. Ekholm, not Ekholm, sorry. It was Bouchard Nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, Ekholm should make $40 million a year. Like, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough showing out there.
It is. But
Nurse, it's so funny. They're both very different brands of bad. Like, Nurse is at very least trying his ass off out there. It's just chaos. Bouchard's pivoting on the spot, not moving, not bending, not. He makes me go, like, as a guy with back problems, I'm like, does he have a back problem? Reach, bend, do anything. Crazy player. And then he goes to the other end of the ice. He's Paul Coffey.
Yes.
Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it with that player.
Obviously, McDavid tied it up, emotional with 90 seconds to go. Just crazy.
What more do you want?
And exactly.
More do you want?
But somehow, with less than a minute to go, the Kings kind of clear the puck. It springs Trevor Moore, former Leaf. Goes racing towards the Edmonton end. Seconds to go, cuts back, finds Philip Deneau, who's got like sort of a bouncing shot. And this one, I don't even blame Stuart Skinner for, because it flipped through the air. You can see Skinner, if you go back to the super slow-mo, he moves and the puck goes by him anyway. Mm-hmm. And that one, I'm like, Yeah,
but he's still not a good goaltender.
No.
Philip Deneau.
This year.
No, he's not.
He was good last postseason for the final 3 rounds because Pickard got in there at some point. He was good for a couple rounds there, but he hasn't been good in the season.
Nope.
And everybody was hoping, fingers crossed, once the postseason comes around, he's going to be able to turn it on. And we only have 1 game of evidence, so let's not overreact. But in this 1 game, the Edmonton Oilers front office should be ashamed of themselves for not doing something in their goaltending situation. Like you have Draisaitl and McDavid on the best contracts they'll ever be on in their entire lives. You should give them as much support as you can. Sell the future forever to support these guys, and they chose not to do it to upgrade Stuart Skinner because they believe that they could just get the magic that they got last postseason.
Why is Savoy still an Oiler?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, he's a great player. I'm sure they're going to be happy that they have him. But how is this not a sell the farm kind of year?
Oh, yeah.
I do want to point out something. So Philip Deneau's goal scoring has fallen off a cliff. First year with the Kings, 27 goals, then 18, then 17. This year he had 8 in 80. And in these playoffs, in 1 game, he has reached a quarter of that total.
It's amazing.
With 2. The playoff, man, heading into every series, all we do is talk about regular season numbers, and we really should just wipe our ass with it.
Yeah. Deneau is a playoff guy.
It's the playoffs. It's just different.
Yep.
Did you see our favorite friend on the game-winning goal have a great swipe at it?
Oh, he's shocking.
I don't know. I don't know if you noticed this.
I please show me again. Please.
So on
You're gonna have to take it off the screen.
On the Dano,
unless you're gonna
I'll do a stop and start.
Yeah, okay.
On
great.
the Dano game-winning goal, you can see the puck is right there. Do you want to do a description for the audio listeners?
So the Kings are advancing the puck up the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Bouchard is back. I can't tell if the lefty.
He's off the screen right now.
Yeah,
He's on the
Bouchard
right side.
would be just off screen, bottom right. I assume his D partner is top left.
Yeah, so the Kings bounced the puck off of the
49
glass.
seconds to go.
49 seconds left. The Kings bounced the puck off of the glass to get it out of the zone. It goes, whoop, it's off the glass.
Okay.
And there's our boy Evan Bouchard right there at the blue line. The puck's coming off the glass. And what does Bouchard do?
Stare.
He goes,
Pinch.
It's right by me. Do you see that little? Do you see the little swipe at it? I tried to get it, and he misses it, and that leads directly to the game-winning goal.
Now hold on.
He can't bend it.
And he's not.
He cannot
he's not-
bend.
You
How
wanna
much
see him-
skating back does he do?
So he does get back. Like, I don't think the getting back part is too much trouble this time because he does skate back. He's the second guy back, and then we
Jesse,
get
guys that are learned to skate faster than that.
Okay,
What are you talking about?
he gets back, and the shot's taken, and Skinner doesn't. stop
Dreisaitl's
it.
not able to catch Dano.
And that's it. That's game.
Oh my god.
And by the way, goals 3 and
terrible.
4 that the Kings scored off of Bouchard are way worse than that. Like,
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
And that's
Yeah.
what's so crazy about it. It's just they're eating them up. Now,
I'm gonna hate watch him on.
So
the
if
screen.
you want to see the
Oh, here
goal
we go.
visualizer here, this is what happens with Bouchard.
Go watch number 2.
So there's 2. Here's the puck off the glass, and he misses the
All right,
shot.
here. I'm
And
gonna
then
help.
He comes back.
No, here, replay it. I'm gonna help get him down the ice. Okay. All right.
You ready?
So yeah, you press and play, and oh no, the puck's going the other way. Evan, let me help.
it's not good for the mic.
I don't care. The guy's the first NHL player to be powered by a sail and nothing else. Dude, horrendous. And isn't this his RFA year? Where he's supposed to get a couple
Yeah.
$1 million?
Yeah, I believe so.
Trade him. Smartest thing the Oilers could do this offseason.
You would Luka Doncic, Evan Bouchard.
Luke,
Excuse me?
That was
go
the that
to
was
the washroom and wash
that
your
was the-
mouth with soap.
that was
How
that was
dare
the no
you.
that was the Mavs what they used. Well, he doesn't play great defense, so
Oh, yeah?
or he's not in great shape, so we got to trade him.
How dare you?
Okay.
Yeah, RFA year.
How dare you stand where he stood? Oh my
okay,
goodness.
very quickly, the Jets and Blues. Jimmy Snuggerud scored a goal on his own net and then scored a goal himself.
Completely unreal.
And it was a great shot, but the Jets are up 2-1. I do like the
2-0.
2-0. The game was 2-1. And
Sorry.
I did like after the game because Jets fans were shouting Luke is better, Luke as in Luke Shen.
Oh, yeah.
and
He lit up his brother.
And he was asked about it, and he said, well, I'm not sure if that's accurate. Stars and Avs game 2 as well. Crazy. The Stars going into overtime were 3-7 since 2022 in playoff OT games.
Wow.
Blackwood, incredible saves in OT, but 2 minutes to go in the first overtime period. And Blackwell raced in the Leafs great Colin Blackwell.
Leafs legend. I loved him.
Cut across, took a screenshot, stopped by Blackwood, but Blackwell was able to get around the defenseman and jam it in, and there you go. So
17 points in 63 games in the regular season. Unreal.
and he scores.
Completely
Okay,
unreal.
now with regards to a more serious topic, the Hockey Canada trial began yesterday in London. We had jury selection.
Yes.
And it was also the time when all 5 defendants, Michael McLeod, Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Alex Formanton, and Carter Hart, all were able to lodge their pleas, which were, they all say not guilty.
In person.
And so Michael McLeod has been charged with 2 counts of sexual assault, including 1 aiding in the offense. And then Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Alex Formanton, and Carter Hart have each been charged with 1 count of sexual assault. And it's interesting because when you're in this part of the trial, beyond jury selection, beyond entering your plea, you also, as the prosecution, have to put forward a list of people that you can potentially call as witnesses. You may not call them, but these were the names.
Right.
So Taylor Radish, Drake Batherson, Robert Thomas, Sam Steele, Maxime Comtois, Boris Kachuk, Brett Howden, Jonah Gadovich, Dante Fabro, Tyler Steenbergen, Connor Timmins, Jake Bean, and Cale Makar could be called.
Nearly the entire team.
This is expected to take, according to Rick Westhead, at least 2 months, so the entirety of the playoffs. Other potential witnesses include former Team Canada assistant coach Tim Hunter,
Okay.
former OPP officer Bob Martin, a security officer for Hockey Canada and London Knights, Glenn McCurdy, who is Hockey Canada's former VP of Insurance and Risk Management. Now, as of right now, because obviously things are kind of going on down at the courthouse today. Yes, so it's going to be happening. Basically, they've delivered instructions to the 14 jurors who will hear evidence, and the judge is discussing sort of trying to, and this is what they do in front of any high-profile trial. They're saying, please stop reading media blackout. Like, you need to be able to look at this as unbiased as you possibly can. Also said prosecutors are not required to prove their evidence with absolute certainty, and said if jurors at the end of the case are sure the defendants are committed the offense they're charged with, they should find them guilty. So,
can you one more time?
So prosecutors are not required to prove their evidence with absolute certainty. And I think what it is, it's the shadow of a doubt thing. I don't know. I don't fully understand that, and I'm not going to try to interpret it because this trial is too important. Mm-hmm. But also worth mentioning, all the players are coming in today, and the Crown is calling witnesses probably to testify. And courts usually are open from 10 to 4 with like an hour-long break in between. So each day you're going to get some stuff in the morning, and then there'll be an hour break, usually at 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then from like 1 to 4, then you'll get the rest of it.
One thing, you might have mentioned this, and I apologize, it's a lot of information. The witnesses are not required to be there in person.
No, I didn't mention that.
So that's important. So there's a number of players who are in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. Obviously, Cale Makar, Drake Batherson, Taylor Radish is with the Caps. Brett Howden's with the Golden Knights. I think there's Robert Thomas with the Blues. Mm-hmm. They will be able to give testimony over video call, as I understand it. That would be wild if these guys had to leave like mid playoff series to go appear in person in London, but it doesn't appear that'll be the case.
Westhead said they'll be able to do it over Zoom, which makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be weird watching, like, if it's whatever named player like play a playoff game, and the next day they're on Zoom for this trial, like,
and then the next day they go back on the ice.
and the next day there's that practice.
Yeah,
It's so strange.
An important note about how we're going to cover this. I think this is important to tell our audience. We're going to hit you with just the facts on this. This is not one of those things that's
a trial.
Yeah, it's I think it's important to say it out loud though. This is not this is not a take zone. This is not an interpretation. This is here's what we know, and we're not as familiar with legal processes as say, a prosecutor or a defendant, a defendant's lawyer. So we're going to just give you what we know, and we're going to update it as it goes along. That's all you can really do.
Right.
This is going to be very high profile. And in a season where the NHL has had a ton of PR successes, Four Nations, Ovi, and the playoffs being the playoffs, this is, I think this is one that's very, very interesting to watch.
Yes.
Now, there are a lot of things I wanted to get to. The Kraken made some changes. There's been locker cleanouts. I know Boston is doing their press conferences today, apparently not going all that well. Some of the reporters
took them a while.
Yeah, certain teams do it on different days. But one thing that happened during Monday's show that we couldn't get to were two major locker cleanouts, and it was the Penguins and the Canucks. And I want to talk about a couple of them because I think they're major. I want to start with the Penguins. Josh Yohe of The Athletic wrote an article saying Kyle Dubas should do himself a favor and trade Erik Karlsson. That's the title of the article.
Oh.
And Kyle said this about Erik at the press conference. He said, Erik is and will forever be a polarizing figure. My view would be we expect him to be one of the people who pulls us from where we're at into contention. I had a long meeting with him on Friday. My push would be his actions have to match his ambitions. That's inconsistency, preparation, and training like every other player on the team. He showed us throughout the year he has another level to him. At times playing for us, certainly playing for Sweden at the Four Nations face-off, he was a player that you would watch and you could say, this guy's going to help my team not only contend but probably win. We have to push him to admit That's the expectation dictated by his talent level and the impact he can make, and that's a joint venture. Meaning, skipping training camp was not helpful. And
He skipped training camp?
he was not at training camp.
Well, I forgot about
And he was, and now injury, but I would say it harkens back to that. And this is something that has followed.
It's just something you're going to have to deal with this player.
And I think this is something that has followed Erik Karlsson around a lot. There were rumors in Ottawa when he was there that if they'd be like, okay, let's do a morning skate. And he'd be like, yeah, I don't feel like it. So the team then just wouldn't do it.
Erik Karlsson dialed is barely of this species.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. But him, I mean, there's a little bit of Evan Bouchard in there.
Right.
Right?
Perhaps with more success and maybe more talent.
Oh, definitely. But just there were I see the parallels, the frustrating parallels, the good and the bad.
So here's the question, guys. And this is where, Josh Yeo, he writes that article. The reason I want to set that up is it's not if Kyle Dubas might want to trade Erik, is can he?
Well, he's down to, $10 million a year? Down to $10 million. Oh boy. Who's out there looking for a question mark $10 million defenseman?
Who's 34?
Who's 34,
Going to be 35.
injured. Oh, baby. I tell you what, I think it can be done. You're going to get sweet poop all.
Are they going to have to retain? I guess I don't even know if the Penguins can retain.
Oh, that's a good
They
question.
might be out of retention slots. I'm not sure.
I would assume they would have to. That might be the sort of thing that resets July 1st. I don't expect you to get anything. He also probably makes you a little too good to be in the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes next year, which, I mean, should be every non-playoff team's goal.
I know he had 101 points 2 years ago, won the Norris, but
What have you done for me lately?
56 and 53 cents. Those are still really good numbers on paper. Jesse, is that worth $10 million to you?
I think your best option is to get Erik Karlsson to play better hockey, like as opposed to trying to find a trade partner. Because at this point, you're not finding the ideal return for Erik Karlsson. Everybody knows you're trying to unload him. And I think, like, if you're Kyle Dubas, you just want Karlsson to play better hockey. And I think that's what he's trying to do through the media is motivate the guy. So I think you try and come back to training camp in that situation. You don't try and trade him this summer on pennies on the dollar.
He's one of those players you got to take it year by year, right? Like, I think a lot of players, we see 100 points from a defenseman, we go, what are you on, drugs? Like, why are you trading this guy? But year in, year out, because his body's such a question mark, you just don't know what you're going to get. He could get 100 points next year.
But it doesn't even sound like in this situation the body's a question mark. It's the mind. What kind of how engaged are you in this? That's what Dubas. I've never. This is the same Kyle Dubas.
To me, they're one and the same.
This is the same Kyle Dubas who went to the wall for Cody Ceci after the season he had in Toronto.
Yes.
For him to say this about a player is truly unbelievable. I didn't hear him say not a word about that against any Toronto player.
It's a challenge.
That's huge.
Do you think it's a challenge to him, or is it him trying to shove him out the door?
I think it's a challenge. I think
challenge.
Jesse nailed it, right? You try to make Erik Karlsson a part of the team and make him better. But if you're playing next to Sidney Crosby, you're playing next to Geno Malkin, right?
That power play should be one of the best.
Should be one of the best in the league. How can you not be engaged? What will get you engaged if that's not enough for you?
Losing takes you out of it.
But you're the reason you're part of the reason that they'll win if they do win.
Well,
and goaltending, I get it.
We've only heard from Dubas. I wonder if Karlsson would say, well, look at the friggin' team you put together. Like,
I think he probably would.
Right? So,
and by the way, it looks like Jari and Nedeljkovic will be fighting the two younger guys for starts, but both will be on the team next year.
Oh, okay. Well, what's Gavin McKenna's number? Is it available? Like, listen. There's going to be some hard conversations this summer in front offices about, listen, do we legitimately have a chance to do anything? Because if we don't, there's this kid in medicine hat right now that might be an actual alien from space. And we have to keep that in mind for our future plans. Crosby, you could go Lemieux, baton pass to Crosby, carries it for 2 decades, baton pass to Gavin McKenna. If it's a possibility, you have to try. You have to try. And you might be too good. That's the downfall of the Penguins. They're
Kyle doesn't
too
seem
good
to
and
be,
not good enough.
Kyle doesn't seem to be interested in that. He seems to be.
He's wrong.
What did he say? What was
He's
the quote?
wrong.
It was like, you can fill one hand with shit and the other hand with hope and see which fills up faster. That's what he said.
Kyle Dubas said that?
Yeah, he said that in front of the press conference. I've never heard that saying
I
before.
do not remember that, and I feel like I would.
He said it like 2 days ago during this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, damn. Sorry, I've been locked into other shit.
Yeah, of course.
That's a great quote.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that painted on my friggin' ceiling.
NordVPN gives you full security. NordVPN is amazing because not only can you move from region to region, you can also guarantee yourself some great security, and you're able to maybe check out some things that were blacked out in your region.
Oh, maybe.
Isn't that interesting?
I like seeing what other countries have on their streaming services. I get to stay here in Canada and I get to bounce around the rest of the world and see what they have on theirs. It's very interesting.
Interesting strategy, John.
I know
Jesse's big on the K-pop documentary.
There's a South American streaming service. They call it. I think it's Mexico.
Ah.
They have Rick and Morty. And up here, it's on some other ones. So, you use that NordVPN and you get Rick and Morty all the time.
That's an interesting thought, Jesse. I look forward to trying that for the first time.
Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/dangle. That's NORDVPN.com/dangle and get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months on top. It is completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, it's nordvpn.com/dangle. April is Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, and Movember, the leading charity dedicated to changing the face of men's health, is encouraging men across the country to know thy nuts by regularly checking them for any changes or inconsistencies and kind of informing them and their doctor on what you should do about it.
Hey, let's change the saying. I know it like the back of my hand. Well, why not? I know it like my nuts.
If you go to Movember.com/knowthynuts, you can find out more information. But some of the stats are kind of interesting. 1 in 4 Canadian men shared that they've never actually checked their pair at all.
You got to know your nuts.
And what you should do is actually apparently go to the shower, steam them, roll them, as in roll them between your finger and thumb. Just get to know. And then repeat with both.
And then you know them.
And then you know them. And if there are any inconsistencies, even if you think, it's not even worth looking at, who cares? Go check it out with your doctor. It's something that, the embarrassment factor, I think, holds people back a lot. But this is something where, as men, and it doesn't matter what age you're at, this can happen at any time. We've seen NHL players go through it. I think Phil Kessel, notably, was one of them. It's something that you should check it out. Go to Movember.com/knowthynuts. Again, it's Movember.com/knowthynuts. Next, the Canucks. The good news, and there's only a little bit of good news, is that they're working on a Rick Tocchet extension. The bad news is, as of this morning, both sides seem to be far apart. But Jim Rutherford said on Monday it's been a really good dialogue. Here's what Jim Rutherford had to say about the season. He said, "We had a very disappointing season that we feel bad about. We started the season with as what a lot of people would view as a contending team," which I think we all did. They won a division last year.
Yes.
We ran into an unfortunate incident early in the season that hurt the chemistry of our team. We ultimately had to make a trade that we didn't expect to make and didn't want to make. So we went from being a contending team to a team in transition. Now that's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Here's where it gets really uncomfortable, guys.
Yes.
He said that the Canucks will definitely have the cap space to sign Quinn Hughes. By the way, Quinn Hughes has got 2 more years left. That's $7.85 million.
Good Lord. That's
But they're already-
really good contract.
But they're already talking about this.
I assume he was asked about it.
He was asked.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think it's important because his answer is what's so crazy.
Right, but it's not like he volunteered to just start talking about Quinn Hughes' contract, right? It's because
Well, it's a press conference, of course not. Yeah. But it was when he was asked about it.
Right, and then we get to this part.
He said, Quinn has said before he wants to play with his brothers.
What?
That would be partly out of our control. In our control is if we brought his brothers here. And
so he's literally correct. I don't know if you're allowed to say it.
I think I don't think that's not tampering.
Yeah, the
I think
NHL said they're not, or I think it was Elliott who reported they're not investigating him for tampering.
Can I play this card? Dubas says that he gets fined. Because I think there's an aspect of this where they go, Jim.
Yeah, but has Dubas signed any sticks for anybody lately? I don't think so.
No, I don't think it's
anybody's
about
family?
that. No, it's an age thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're going, Jim. I think in the same way that you scold a parent for misusing Facebook.
Quinn Hughes, by the way, like I said, 2 years out. So in this 3-year cap escalation, he will hit the market for the most expensive part, where the cap's supposed to be at like 115 million or whatever the hell the number is.
Yeah.
Is Quinn Hughes the first 15 million, 17 million, $20 million defenseman a year?
So I'd like to amend what I just said about that contract being great. That contract actually might suck ass because it's too short.
Yeah, could you have gotten a couple more years and paid a little more?
Oh,
now,
that's...
when it was signed, it seemed like a really good idea.
Oh, yeah.
And the cap was flat. And I think Rutherford did make this clear. We will have the cap space to re-sign him.
Okay.
That's where he stopped.
Yeah, the subtext there is, we'll pay him. Does he want to stay? That's the subtext.
And I'm looking at New Jersey and I'm going, well, Dougie Hamilton will expire by that time.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
You think...
Does Quinn go to New Jersey?
3 Quinns.
Well, it sounds.
I mean, nope.
3 Hughes.
3 Hugheses.
Does it
One
not, Jesse?
Quinn.
Does it not sound like to you that they're already worried about it?
Him leaving? Yeah, I think it's been a narrative that if this team isn't good, Quinn Hughes will leave and go somewhere else, whether it's New Jersey or not. It'll be somewhere. He's not playing in Vancouver. And I think there's a pressure on the front office to put a competitive team on the ice because their best player is not going to be there for a rebuild. Mm-hmm. So they don't have a choice but to go for it each and every year.
There's another team who's not bad enough, in my opinion.
They shouldn't be, though.
To rebuild. No, I totally agree. Totally agree. Like, well, I'm not going to say they don't need Gavin McKenna. Everyone needs Gavin McKenna. But I think they're too good and also have too many young parts to even be thinking about that sort of thing.
Yeah, but the Canucks, as they demonstrated this season, aren't quite there yet, and they need more pieces, and they can't just be in this middling area. They need to be a contender, or they could potentially lose Quinn Hughes.
Demko Lankinen has the potential to be unreal. For
If Demko is healthy, if Lankinen's healthy.
Yeah, well, my assumption is for the beginning of next season, they will be. This year, it was a question mark with Demko. I don't think it will be next year.
Yeah, and Demko's only got 1 year left. Like, next year is Demko's last year.
That's all right. Well, I mean, we're probably at reevaluation of that relationship stage with him anyway. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's boy, they got some uncomfortable decisions.
Oh, yeah. That's hockey. I assume Patrick Alvin's checks show up on time. You got to figure it out.
Also on the docket was Elias Pettersson.
Oh.
Because it didn't get any better. Here's what Rutherford had to say. He's a guy that's always going to be able to get his points. But you can be...
No, he isn't.
But can you be a contending team with your top player just getting points? And I can answer that question. The answer is no.
He had 45 points in 64 games.
Okay, but I think they expect that he'll be able to score at least 80 regularly.
Okay, why didn't he do it?
I don't know. Let me finish the quote, though.
Sure.
He said, okay, I'll start from the beginning. He's a guy that's always able to get his points, but can you be a contending team when your top player is just getting points? And I can answer that question. The answer is no, you can't. He's going to have to buy into being a complete player. He's going to have to buy into working hard. He's going to have to buy into what the coach wants him to do.
This is very funny to me as a Leafs fan because we saw the Canucks play 2 very strong games against the Leafs. I think they allowed 1 goal in 2 games. And Canucks fans were like, Pettersson was unbelievable in those games. And weren't the players yelling Selke at him?
Oh, were they?
There was something about Pettersson and the Selke for a moment there. I think it was mostly as a joke, but like, oh, look at him out there.
Yeah, the guys on the bench were telling him Selke.
Oh,
yeah.
And we had talked about post-game.
Yeah.
They were joking around how he deserved Selke that night because he was really good defensively.
And can be and was for Sweden too, right? He was good defensively for Sweden, from what I remember.
Yeah. He was fine.
So is it guys, is it a consistency thing? Because it's clearly there. Or is it more than just scoring points and, well, not scoring points in this season's case and playing good defense? Like, what is it? What's Rutherford really trying to hit on here?
I mean, Pettersson seemed legitimately miserable from the moment the season began until the very blood-curdling scream end of it. Like, it seemed like every appearance at that rink was an affliction against him and only him. And I mean, we talked about, I think with Karlsson, is it a physical thing or a mental thing? I think they're one and the same. When you're injured, it screws with everything. It screws up with your ability, which screws up with your confidence. Also, you're in pain all the time, so you're in a bad friggin' mood. I think that affected every aspect of Pettersson's game and every aspect of his life. Pain sucks.
Pain sucks.
There's probably a lot of people listening to this right now. Pain sucks. You got to mentally prepare yourself for every shift, knowing it's going to hurt. Some people deal with it better than others. With Petey, unless he recovers from what was ailing him physically this year, it's going to be difficult to get over the mental hump because he was miles away from good enough.
Right. Okay. I'm going to leave some of the other stuff because we can't go on too long here.
Nope.
So should we go into the press conference?
Sure, I can use my time in the press conference to talk about the Jets a little. Ooh. The Jets Blues series, because we didn't spend much time on it.
No.
And I just want to talk about the Scheifele Connor line for a little bit.
Sure.
Because that line, the way it played, it got completely outplayed on that 5-on-5. And if you pull up the expected goals on Money Puck right now, I want you guys to take a look at this.
Ooh.
How the rest of the team performed as opposed to how the Iafallo Scheifele Connor line performed.
Wow.
So if you look at the expected goals percentage over the course of 2 games, Connor, Scheifele, and Iafallo are sitting at 42.9%.
Not great.
The rest of the team, the Nemestikov line, 60%.
Wow.
Sandberg and Pionk pairing, 61%. Morrissey DeMello, 66%. Stanley Shen, 71%. Lowry, Tanev, Appleton, 80%.
That probably does not get better in St. Louis.
But 2 goals
scored
against St. Louis.
That's what drives me
Dangle.
nuts about Money Puck, by the way. It's like, give me the actual numbers, though. What was the result?
No, this is built in. This is built into the Winnipeg Jets. The 2 goals they score. Scheifele, driving to the net, scores it.
Yep.
Other one, Kyle Connor.
Off of Scheifele.
From Scheifele, who was around the back of the net. He has a little pass, and he scores it. Those 2 in particular, Iafallo's there hanging out. But Kyle Connor, one of the best goal scorers in the league. Not a lot of guys scored 40 goals this season. Yep. Kyle Connor is one of them. One of the most underrated goal scorers since he's come into the league. And Mark Scheifele, who has been a contentious player. Is that the right word?
I think that's a fair word. There's a polarizing.
Polarizing is a better one. Polarizing player throughout his NHL career, who's fast as hell. And on that first goal, that drive into the net. And
shot such a weapon.
And going around Nick Leddy there, unbelievable goal. But it seems like the Winnipeg Jets have built into their system the ability to allow Scheifele and Connor to do whatever the hell they want. Like, we don't care if you lose the crap out of an expected goals battle. The rest of the team is going to be so good in all of those areas that they can make up for it, and you guys just go out there and give us offense.
I like that.
And I think last night was the perfect Winnipeg Jets game where you get decent goaltending. Like, Hellebuck wasn't required to do a whole bunch. There wasn't a lot of shots from St. Louis.
Right.
So they kept it easy for him, which I think they've done all season.
Good.
And then you get Connor and Scheifele scoring the timely goals you need. And that's kind of how this team has been doing it. I picked them to 4-game sweep the St. Louis Blues, and they're on their way to do it.
What?
So we're 2 games away. You were there. What do you mean? Wow.
I know. I forgot. It was a lot, man. Well, I got to remember both of your picks.
So seeing that game back and them dominating the Blues like that, where it's every other aspect of the game, like, I think the Jets, they got something here. They got something special.
Yeah, I think the President's Trophy winners are onto something.
Yeah, it's just small little take. I think the Jets are decent.
I stand by what I said at the beginning of the series. Like, I still think it's very close, but Dylan Holloway, losing him it's just a bridge too far for the Blues. We'll find out. And it's what is it? No time to panic until you lose at home.
If the series doesn't start until you lose one at home. I hate that phrase.
I know, me too.
We'll see what happens.
So, how many series have begun then? One? Like,
The Vegas
oh,
series.
two.
Dallas
Two.
Dallas lost at home.
Dallas lost
Florida?
at home.
Florida lost.
No, Tampa
lost at
Tampa,
home.
Florida. Yeah.
My
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So 3 series have begun.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
can't wait for the other 5. What a treat.
Also, that
what a treat.
That Vegas game we did mention, Shea Theodore was responsible for 4 goals. Like he had 4 turnovers that led to 4 of the 5 goals.
Should we do a Theodore corner from now?
We honestly, if we wanted to break down every single one of those goals, there's a mistake that Shea Theodore makes on 4 of the 5 goals. It's as bad as anything Evan Bouchard's done.
I wonder how much of that injury, like what percentage he's playing at. He got hurt, and man, I got to tell you, when he went down, I think it was the first game of the 4-Nation face-off, I was like, oh, Canada might be boned here. Because that's a really good player.
And what happened?
They ended up winning, I think.
Yeah.
Ooh. Look at that.
I just wanted to get in that because I know we didn't spend time after game 1. And I know we didn't spend much time after game 2 talking about the Jets Blues series, so I wanted to just mention that a little bit.
No,
there.
that's fair. That's fair. So tonight I'm going to be doing the Montreal Canadiens Washington Capitals series. It was interesting. It was an interesting.
For anybody listening, Steve walked off the Sports Check set to go grab some merch
Right over there.
from the store, and he came back with a Canada 4 Nations shirt and hoodie.
That's right. So I'll be doing Montreal Canadiens Washington Capitals game 2 tonight. We'll see how it goes. Steve, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you, man. No, still
Stream
can't hear
tonight.
you.
What time's the game?
What time's the game?
Yeah, 7 o'clock. 7
yeah,
o'clock.
I haven't. You
Stream
know
out
what,
tomorrow.
Jesse? There's so much going on. I don't know until half an hour. 7 p.m. I just Googled it.
Hey, let's go.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.